you might ask yourself, how do I connect more authentically when I'm speaking, when I'm communicating either in a meeting or in a presentation, or maybe even in a video? I think that for me, the question is not so much how do I connect more, right? Because that is true, that is a real thing, right? How do I connect more? But the real thing that for me, honestly, the thing is to figure out how am I disconnecting. And I disconnect in a couple of ways, or you may disconnect in a couple of ways. One might be I'm thinking too much about what's going on around me. I'm not focusing in on the audience. I'm not thinking about who my audience is. I'm actually thinking about who I am. Another one might be that I am worrying too much about what I'm saying or how I'm saying it. And the third one might be about how I am admiring. I'm admiring what I'm doing. I'm basically expecting some sort of acknowledgement, some sort of validation for the great work that I've done. And this reminds me so much of when I was teaching high school, and there'd be these times when students would ask this question. Like one time, a class asked me, why do we read these books? Why do we read all these old books? And I actually had an answer for them. I had been thinking a lot about it. And I had this answer that was really quite long. Like I was sort of talking about, the archetypal imagery and mankind's search for meaning and all this stuff that I had been thinking about a lot. I was in my 20s. I was very, very like in my head about it. And I remember thinking, this is a great answer to this question. I am knocking this question out of the park. I remember thinking, they are so lucky. They are so lucky to have me as a teacher. And at some point, like maybe it was like 5 minutes of me just yabbering on and on and on, that something in my head just said, like, why don't you shut up for a minute and check in with the class? Because I had kind of gone blind. That's what happens when we do this. We kind of go blind when we get all excited. And I looked around at the class. It had been silent the whole time. And every single one of them was basically completely checked out. And what was happening? So some of this could be the blame of my content. I was probably giving them too much information. Maybe my content wasn't very good, so on and so forth. But the thing that I took away from that, the thing that I think is so important to learn from this, is that while I was talking, I wasn't actually connecting. I was thinking about myself. I was thinking about this idea, this persona that I was portraying in that moment, this like teacher persona. And I wasn't relating. I wasn't in relationship to the people in the room. And I know this sounds kind of funny, but like, if you can, in any situation where you're speaking, if you can be in relationship with the people in the room, which does mean you have to be also in relationship with yourself. So you can't disconnect from yourself as well, right? You see sometimes people go really flat, right? They're like, and the next thing is, you can't do that. But if I can stay in relationship to myself and I can stay in relationship to you, to the audience, there's this opportunity, this chance that something special might happen. Some connection, something might spark that I couldn't possibly have planned. I was so interested in having the answer to this kid's question that I wasn't even curious about why this kid asked this question, right? Like they no longer were needed. And if you want to build some sort of rapport with the people around you, if you want to build a presence, whether it's as a leader within your group or as a peer, a partner, a trusted person, a confidant. If you want to do that, you want to be a mentor, a guide, you gotta find a way to connect. You've gotta find a way to build that relationship. And to do that, you have to recognize when you disconnect. Recognize when you start thinking about yourself. Recognize when you start thinking about yesterday, tomorrow, some other place. Stay present, stay grounded, and stay focused on the rapport. And if you can do that, you have a chance to transform, right? To actually change the culture in the room, right? To actually learn from them as much as they learn from you. This is what we're looking for. This is what communication allows us that nothing else will allow us to do. This is why we can't get transactional, right? Because if we can do this, we can do almost anything.